Hi everyone, how are we today? I'll turn that off because if not it'll start tweeting like birds in the background at some point. Come in, take a seat. So hello, I'm Sandra, I'm the Community Parks Officer looking after the Alistry Rewilding project in Derby. It's been mentioned a couple of times this morning. If it got mentioned again, you would have heard everything you're about to hear now. But yes, so it's we think it's the UK's biggest urban rewilding project. So there are bigger rewilding projects across the UK, but none of them are kind of within a city centre boundary. So Alistry Park is 320 acres. Oh God, I'm getting nervous now. 320. Anyway, it's our biggest site in Derby. Since the 40s, it was when it was handed over to Derby Corporation. It was turned into a golf course with kind of a horseshoe shape around the outside of woodland and meadow that got designated as a local nature reserve about 12 years ago. In 2020, unfortunately for local golfers, the golf course was losing a hell of a lot of money. It was about £70,000 a year that it was needing to be subsidised by. So the golf course closed and Derby City held a kind of citywide consultation engagement over 12 weeks with the public to see what they wanted from the site. It was one of the best and kind of, I say the best. It was one of the kind of most well-received, and we received so many comments. We had almost 3,000 comments, which on a parks consultation, I'm sure if you're local, that's quite a lot of comments to go through. And there was an 89% kind of 89% of respondents wanted it to be a place for nature. They didn't want it kind of commercialised. They wanted somewhere for the community and they wanted to be involved in it, hence the community part of our urban rewilding project. So things that you've been hearing about a lot today, things like the biodiversity crisis. There are, I don't know whether you can see anything that's on there when you're over there with those lights on. Oh, dramatic. I'm hoping most of you in this room are well aware of the biodiversity crisis that is going on. Like 54% of our flowering plant species are in decline. I think one of you mentioned earlier, I can't actually see your faces now, it's dark. No, so 1 in 6 species are at risk of extinction. So that's a kind of average across England. There are some kind of species that are way higher. So birds are at 43% of bird species are at threat at the minute. Two-spot ladybirds, that's like 34% decline rate that they've had, and that's one type of ladybird. So I don't want to kind of just give you loads of facts and figures. We know it's bad. We know that we need to create good quality green space that nature can use and that is kind of accessible for people and allows them to connect with the nature. Again, we've heard earlier today about kind of the anxiety that comes with the climate crisis. So providing those opportunities is something that we really wanted to do at Alistry. So what is rewilding? Anyone want to take a guess or give suggestions? If any of you have rewilded any of your areas?
Just be wilded.
Wilded.
Rewilding implies you're going back to a state which might or might not have existed. So is
Okay.
it more like nature recovery rather than wilding?
The term I would use outside of this project probably would be nature recovery, yes. So in my opinion, rewilding, it's a method of reducing and remediating basically what we, and I mean the royal we, humans, have been doing to the environment, to the world. So there's basically rewilding offers us a bit of hope in the face of today's climate crisis, biodiversity crisis, and things, because what we are aiming to do is to restore natural processes in areas. Oh, sorry, that just moved a bit, didn't it? That's fine. So yes, we're trying to restore natural processes and, where possible, reintroduce missing species. I'm sure most of you, maybe some of you, most of you probably don't have the landscapes that you can just put in, like elk, beavers, bison, wild boar, things like that. We don't have the urban environment to be able to do that. But our kind of overarching aim is that we restore our habitats and ecosystems to a point where intervention is minimal, and kind of nature almost takes care of itself. Again, without those keystone species, it's never going to completely take care of itself. And with human intervention, we definitely need to continue educating. Our Alistry is quite a big project, but you can rewild small areas. You can rewild, corners of farmers' fields. You could rewild window boxes. It doesn't have to be hundreds of acres to make a difference. You've heard a little bit this morning about kind of connections for wildlife, creating those networks that they can use, adding little bits of rewilding into kind of your day-to-day work life or even personal life can have some kind of really great effects. So I mentioned natural processes, and that's what we're trying to restore. Some very small examples there. Does anyone know any natural processes that are within the ecosystem? So I'm talking natural processes as in the like ongoing interactions between different things that kind of... Water cycle, perfect. Yeah, they shape life, they sustain us. Anything other than the water cycle that we can think of? Carbon cycle, lovely. There's things like nutrient recycling within the soil, where you might look at reintroducing dung beetles to a particular site if you haven't got them, to help with nutrient cycling under the ground. General food cycles, carnivory, herbivores, things like that on your sites. That takes a bit of wider mapping to see opportunities that might arise, or could still be quite local to you. If you've got wetlands, rivers, etc., maybe you have problems with American mink. It's part of the food cycle, but they are an invasive species that maybe need to be tackled. Personally, I believe they kind of do. And then one thing a lot of you might see managing green space as it becomes less intensive managed is kind of regeneration and succession. When here in England, in the UK anyway, if you leave a meadow surrounded by a hedgerow and trees for long enough, that's going to become woodland pasture. That succession of, if you don't manage something either with people, keystone species, etc., the scrub will come in, that will then shelter kind of small pioneer species trees, then you get your climax trees after that, so it will continue to roll through. Now, what we are missing from kind of history, I suppose, is when there were herds of wild ponies, when we did have kind of cattle grazing the landscape, is that they would transition around the landscape. It's not, if you imagine 100, 200 years ago plus, those animals were almost free roaming. And when you've got Now we have small areas like the Exmoor ponies that are still kind of held within their area. So now if you think about kind of intensive grazing, there's not much wildlife, not much habitat there, but because you'd have a wild pony and then you'd say have a wolf. Wolf would chase the wild ponies would go to safety, do a bit of grazing, and they'd kind of transport themselves around. That would get you that mosaic of habitats that actually we all really need for biodiversity. So what's happening at Allestree Park? So I've said a little bit about it. I'm going to change the colour of this text for the next session, apologies. So yes, it's a partnership project where we're working with Derbyshire Wildlife Trust, the University of Derby, and other partners. So we've got kind of three main aims with the Rewilding programme, and that is kind of that we want Allestree Park to be abundant with good quality wildlife and nature. The nature needs to be leading nature's recovery. So what actually happened when we closed the golf course in 2020, we did very little for 2 years. We let nature kind of do what it wanted, but if you imagine how a golf course is managed, it's quite intense, herbicides, pesticides, almost daily mowing in some areas, so the soil's quite compacted. And now what we're helping to do is to kind of kickstart those natural processes that are showing through. Another one of our main aims is that people are at the heart of caring for Allestree Park. And the third aim is that we want the project to be like an example in urban rewilding. We want to be able to take what we learn at Allestree, share it with you all, hopefully in 12, 18 months when we've got some really great data. We're starting to get it back in, but that needs to kind of be collated. And we're hoping that that will be able to influence kind of policy and practice on a wider scale. Just going to toot my own horn for a little bit. I hope that's all right. But our kind of achievements so far. So I've been on the project for 14, 15 months. We have organised and delivered 40 public events with almost 3,000 attendees across those events. We've had 40 volunteering sessions, and we have around 320 volunteers, most ad hoc or from various groups. We've trained nature top leaders, so that is like forest schools for toddlers, and created an area on the park for them with kind of an outdoor shelter. And we've supported 13 local students to complete a level 3 course in leading a project for positive change. For wildlife, as well as the general leave it and see what happens, now we've seen what happens, we've started taking action. So we've enhanced about 13 hectares of flower-rich grasslands for a mixture of plug planting and green hay spreading. We've carried out kind of professional surveying. We also have engaged with lots of local wildlife groups to help us survey species that they are most passionate about. So Derbyshire Bat Group, Mid Derbyshire Badger Group. We've got DOS, which are the Derbyshire Birders. We've got South Notts Ringing Group on site as well. Butterfly Conservation. Danes, so the Entomological Society, as well as the Friends of Allestree Park and the Earl of Harringdon Angling Club, all to kind of help us out improving sections for wildlife. We're also collaborating with the University of Derby through various of their subjects, but from kind of undergrad to master's students and kind of professor lecturers are all doing various studies across site. And as I mentioned earlier, we don't have the right habitat at the moment, or the fact that we're in a city to kind of chuck wolves or bison on site. So what we're actually doing, we're using the community to come in and replicate what those species would do. So a couple of weekends ago, we had Be a Wild Pony weekend. In a couple of weeks, I've got Be a Bison weekend, where we're going to go and crash through the woodlands and create open ground and scrapes. And that kind of storytelling with the local community as to like not only what we're missing, because most families are very happy that we've not reintroduced wolves or boar into the park. But it gives them that kind of storytelling of, oh, okay, this was here, this should be here. How can we then kind of replicate it? And we also have a well-being theme running through. So 140 people have attended well-being walks on site. Over 200 people have engaged in other nature-based well-being activities, so whether that's forest bathing, meditation, yoga in the grasslands. We've started a nature buddy program and have been in contact with various GP surgeries. So as a bit of green social prescribing, we have people that we have trained up to help others get onto the park and to experience nature, to try and reduce that kind of barrier of people having that anxiety, because it's quite a wide open space that we found people experiencing. And established a kit store, so people can come to the park and borrow kind of outdoor clothing, outdoor wear, so that they can kind of turn up in all weathers. I'm really hoping this is going to work. Just going to show you a short video of Beaver Scouts being beavers for us that I hope you can hear and enjoy.
Nature takes over new exciting habitats are forming. Previously, water was very important in this landscape, but now we're letting nature lead nature's recovery. And excitingly, ephemeral pools have formed. These seasonal pools are vital for lots of different species as part of their life cycles. We were so excited to see the ephemeral pools form naturally, and it made us think, what would happen if there were other large creatures still living in the landscape, such as beavers? How would they make this place even wetter?
Beavers are incredible ecosystem engineers. Not only do they help wildlife, but they also help people. So it's very difficult to bring certain species back to our urban parks, so the next best thing is community rewilding and getting the community to mimic some of the ecosystem engineers. So we can't have beavers, but we can have the community being beavers and mimicking what they would do naturally in the wild.
We're the dam making children, and we're going to teach you how to make a dam. First of all, we've got wood at the base, quite big bits of wood. Then we got the like straw, dry grass. Cut that on top. Did a layer of bark, and then some clay.
And we've had two of the local beaver groups, so we've actually had beavers being beavers. We've had two of the local primary schools. Overall, we've had about 120 community members getting involved in the project.
So we brought the UK Council down with us today. I'm really excited. The kids have been so excited about it all week. They're really enthusiastic, and they even go and do extra sort of research in their own time. It's made them really hands-on learners, and they're really, really enthusiastic. Good little eco warriors that hopefully will go on and take this into their own lives. So it's really good.
Just had a really great session with a group of year sixes from a local school who have learned so much about beavers and managed to really get stuck in. They've built 4 absolutely amazing dams that are already kind of working.
I think my highlight has really been seeing the children getting stuck into it. I wasn't sure if they would last 10 minutes, 20 minutes, but some of the children have literally been as busy as beavers for about 2 hours, and we had to drag them away, and they've been covered in mud, but it didn't bother them, they didn't care. They knew that to be a beaver, they had to get wet, they had to get muddy in order to do a good job.
We're back at Alistair Park a month later, and look at all of the incredible work our busy beavers have done. Excitingly, we've had our first wildlife sighting within the pool,
Oh, God, she's still talking. That's okay. So, as I say, the community rewilding aspect, we are using the community to imitate those keystone species. So yes, having young children be beavers at Alistree did slow the flow of the brook that they were working on. They did create kind of pools that then we've actually had a bumper year of frogs and toads this year, even throughout the kind of heat. We are now finding them obviously in the grassland, kind of going off to hibernate and things like that. So that was done across kind of 2 days. We had local schools, as you say, Beaver Scouts, and then some of the public come in, and we had 120 people over 2 days wanting to come and pretend to be beavers. Our Be a Boar Day, which was all about basically trying to break through the grass sod and see whether there were any seeds in the ground that we kind of needed to bring up to the surface. That got 180 people in 2 days, because basically said, come and be a boar. We gave them spades and forks and the occasional mattock, and just let them make a mess. And actually, like, the initial results are that, yes, we had yarrow pop up, we had oxeye daisy, had a couple of other things that weren't there before on our traditional kind of grass golf course that have popped up in this one area that, that we basically, made a huge mess. And the young people loved it, and many have since come back. Some of the older ones have signed up to, we've got a programme called Junior Rangers, where we have teenagers come and effectively do conservation-based tasks. So, activity time. I have potentially 2 activities for you. How active are we feeling? I'm getting shakes of heads. Okay, no, that's.
After lunch.
That's fine. Yeah, and to be fair, if you wanted to be active, you would have gone on a walk, wouldn't you, to Alveston? Okay, so what I'd like you all to think about. So, does anyone here not manage green space in some way? Just checking. Oh, what? What do you do? Sorry, who are you? Hello.
I work at the National Trust in Birmingham and the West Midlands.
Okay.
So yeah, done some partnership work with the council, but I'm not responsible.
You're not responsible. Okay. Well, you can say whatever you please on this bit then, and nobody can hold you to account if you're not managing green space. So I want a bit of a imagination kind of brainstorming idea. What I'd like you to think about is, you have I always get hectares and acres mixed up. Which one's bigger? Hectares is bigger, isn't it? So if I say 20 acre or 8 hectare site, that's about right for the maths. It's a X allotment site. Obviously has been disposed of appropriately through all the proper rules and regulations. You have a site in your area. At the minute, predominantly grass, probably a bit overgrown, some like old hedgerows and things. You've done consultation with the local community. Let's say it's a slightly waterlogged site, so nobody wants it as an allotment because nothing will grow there. You've consulted with your local residents. They want a space for nature. A lot of you are local authority, so we haven't got any money. Let's be honest. So what ideas of rewilding do you think you can use on this site to improve it for nature. So the community don't want anything like, I don't know, Go Ape kind of rewilded site. We don't want zip lines through the trees. We want traditional place for nature. You've got a volunteer leader to lead some volunteers. What are we thinking of on this site? I'm going to try and draw you the site as well. There you go. We got. Oh, look at these lovely trees. They're a mixture of alder and willow because it's quite waterlogged. We've got hedgerow. What are we doing on there that is rewilding, do we think, that we can improve it for nature? So whether you think about one of the natural processes, so it's waterlogged, so do you want to dig some scrapes or pond? Dig some scrapes, lovely. Where do you want your scrape? I'm going to say it's down here. Some scrapes there. I haven't got many colours, by the way. I do apologise. Any other habitats that we could...
You said it's grassland, so you leave some areas to grow tall and develop as meadows, effectively. Or occasionally grazed. Occasionally
grazed. Yeah, don't put 4 ponies on there full time, just ruin it. So we're going to leave... What, do you want like a quadrant? Do you want an around the edge? What are we drawing here? Use your...
I think blobs it's sort of in the middle, around in the middle of the quadrants.
In the middle of the... Okay, so long bits of grass, lovely.
We develop some areas of scrub because that's a much undervalued and missing habitat.
Some areas of scrub.
Small furries and small birds, things like that.
Yeah. Would you just let the hedgerows maybe just increase naturally, kind of a natural succession, kind of?
Some bramble scrub going in there.
Brambly scrubbing, yeah. Let's, I don't know.
What's it connected to in the wider environment?
Very good question.
Can we continue a corridor from that's leading into it?
So I'm going to put a gate just here. I mean, it's an allotment urban site, so I'm not going to draw you loads of houses, but we're going to have some houses just here, I reckon. You could go non-rewilding potentially and have some street trees if you work with your highways colleagues. There's some... So glad the guy from Tree Council isn't in here because they're terrible trees.
Wildlife-friendly gardening
in people's properties. So, yeah, let's have a... I don't know how I'm going to draw this. So a property here has got a pond. You could help the property here create a like wildlife-friendly, pollinator-friendly planting. So there is an educational aspect for the local community. Yeah, so bring in people.
Interested to know why it's wet. Is there a brook, or is it streets, or is it whether you can direct that water?
Ah, okay.
Are there any culverts that can be daylighted?
Culverts. I'm making up this, not completely making up this scenario, but it depends what you all say to me. So I'm going to say natural spring. That's my natural spring thing. So yeah, there could potentially be almost like rain garden-esque on the street. Yeah, okay. Are there any... Has anyone got any favourite species that we could reintroduce to a small site, or could look at enticing in with the works?
Say get a hedgehog in quite easily.
Get a hedgehog in? Why are you making me draw a hedgehog, Harriet? So you could, whilst this is progressing, rewilding doesn't happen overnight, but you could put in some bird boxes. You could put in a hedgehog igloo. They kind of look like igloos, don't they?
It's almost better to not put in human-made habitats, but
Yeah.
Maybe
make the habitat that is going to be welcoming to
a
the
wood
creatures.
pile.
A wood pile.
Wood pile. I'm going to put that down there.
If there's adjacent gardens backing onto the allotment, you could do them hedgehog highways, so then the hedgehogs get in and out of the allotment. No.
Yeah, no, that's fine. This is a fence with some holes in it. There we go.
Would this allotment be very accessible to the public? So is it an area that the public can use as a walk-through space, would you say?
Wouldn't say a walk through, although actually I'm only thinking of Nottingham allotments, and most of them aren't walk through. They're in and out the same gate.
Yeah,
But
want to come in and walk around, or just
yeah.
a well-being space. Because I think
Yeah. So are you thinking like benches or
yeah,
what?
I was thinking, the community
Yeah.
garden came to my mind as well, obviously, if it's a rewilding space,
Yeah.
how involved are people in regards to visitation? Are they able to come in freely and walk around? Because,
Yeah.
and for me, when it comes to rewilding, you probably have to look at the habits of the vegetation before you
Yeah.
decide the rewilding. For example, mowing design lines.
Yeah.
If they're already walking that way, we'll work to it.
Yeah, yeah.
Through the paths and stuff. So that's my thinking. You know, how are people using this space? If they're rewilding?
So, yeah. So I'd kind of picked X allotment site on the thoughts that it would be 2 minutes. Oh, okay. I picked X allotment site on the hopes that it would be currently unused by people, because one of the opportunities I have at Alistry is to re-educate people on that change of use, which, yeah, we know how hard it is to educate people sometimes.
Can I ask a question about your junior rangers?
Yes,
And safeguarding.
yes.
So DBS, I mean,
Yep. So there's myself and Andy, who you saw on the video, who are like paid members of staff, DBS checked, first aid trained.
that's the issue with friends of groups who are not employed, we can't be DBS, you know, but we really want to work with like teenagers and
Yeah. So our friends of group, we only we tell them they have to work with adults, or the parents or guardians have to be there.
yeah. So 17-year-olds don't want them packing along. So we want to, yeah.
No, we do have a couple of volunteer leaders that join us that we have got DBS checked and have gone through various bits of training to like in general safeguarding training and like mental health awareness and things, but they have been picked from the community like specifically to come and join us to help lead the young people. So yeah, they're a lovely bunch though. Yeah. Few seconds. What does the future hold at Alistry? There's some lovely photos. Changes in floral diversity and habitat complexity, changes in vegetation structure, soil health improvements, water quality improvements, carbon capture, and an increased diversity of species. plus loads of people to come and help. Oh, that was a bit whistle-stoppy, but thank you. A bit whistle-stoppy because, yeah, 40 minutes. But if anyone wants to speak about kind of any little bits in more detail afterwards, please come and find myself or pop me a message. My details will be not on this, but somewhere. But yeah, I hope you can take a little bit of like rewilding theory back to your own spaces. Just leave a bit of land, see what happens, and then, yeah, help give it that kickstart to improve it. Thank you very much, everyone.